Hey guys, I'm Eric with American Trucks. In this video, we're going to do a review and install of these Morimoto XB LED headlights with black housing and clear lens, fitting all 2017 to 2019 Ford F-250 and 350 SuperDuty pickup trucks. And these LED headlights from Morimoto are really going to appeal to the SuperDuty owner out there who wants a premium quality upgrade to their front end lighting for their truck. Now, Morimoto is really a hot name in lighting these days, and I think that's mainly due to the high-end projectors that they use, as well as the attention-getting DRL and turn signal functions, the build quality that comes with these headlights, and it's all wrapped up in a clean, modern design. Now, as far as factory halogens go, Fords are actually fairly bright, and that's for other drivers. Now, I don't know if you've noticed it, but I've noticed it driving around town. Whenever I see a Ford SuperDuty coming at me with their headlights on, I'll get a lot of headlight beam in my face. And I think that's largely due to the kind of dated halogen design, and the reflectors that are built into them kind of splashes that headlight beam pattern out wide and quite frankly wastes a lot of that light energy. Compare that to the Morimoto XB LEDs. The projectors focus that light beam where you need it to be when you're driving the SuperDuty. Now, on top of those very impressive focused beam LED projectors, you also have these attention-getting DRLs and turn signals. Now, that white DRL comes in at a 5000K color temperature. That's really a clean, bright light, and that's going to get the attention of other drivers out there on the road, as well as the animated sequential turn signal feature with these. It's really also going to get other drivers' attention, so when you're making a move out there in traffic, it makes it a lot safer. Other drivers are going to see immediately what you're doing, and as soon as you activate that turn signal, I literally think people are going to be turning their heads because they're just going to see that animation, and that's going to make it a lot safer environment for you to operate in. Now, like I've mentioned a couple of times already, Morimoto really puts out a high-end, premium quality product. Now, something I've noticed, and maybe I notice it more than the average person out there because we do a lot of this type of installation work, making these videos here at American Trucks, but you'll notice when you buy these headlights and you're working with them, you can tell you're handling a quality product. It's got a nice heft to it, and the housing and all that is very substantial and durable, and that's going to provide long-lasting life down the road. Now, with all this talk of premium quality, it does come at a premium price tag. The pair of these lights currently come in just under $2,000. That definitely puts it in the premium category. However, I can confidently tell you, working with these Morimotos, you get what you pay for. And the last aspect that I think is worth mentioning with these Morimotos in terms of it being a high-end quality product is the ease of installation. The fitment and finish with these, getting them mated up to the truck was really a breeze, and the plug-and-play setup that they designed here makes installation really easy. That said, you do have to do a little bit of wiring, and running a separate wire to your fuse box kind of adds an additional step there. So we're going to give it a very easy 2 out of 3 wrenches on our difficulty meter. Give yourself about an hour to get this job done from start to finish using just a couple of basic hand tools. So let's take a look at those tools that you're going to need and go ahead with the installation. Okay guys, the tools we're going to use for this install include an electric impact wrench, a short extension, a 10mm socket, and a flat blade screwdriver. All right guys, now obviously before we can get our new headlights installed, we're going to have to do some uninstall work here and get our old factory headlights out. To do that, we're going to remove the radiator shroud as well as the grille cover here. So let's go ahead and get started with that. All right guys, now to get the radiator shroud off, we have a whole series of these locking pins here. And if you've never worked with these before, they're basically 2 pieces. You lift up the center piece, that unlocks it, and then you pull up on the base. All you need is a flathead screwdriver to do that. right guys, with all the pins removed, go ahead. And you're gonna have to pull out on the passenger side here a little bit to get this tab out from under, and then just lift it away. All right guys, next up we're gonna remove about 8 of these bolts here using a 10mm socket. All right, now with those bolts out from the top, all we have holding our grill on is a series of locking tabs that kind of push into slots that are mounted on the frame behind it. So all we're gonna need to do is grab onto the grill and give it a nice gentle but deliberate pull, and we should be able to get our grill off. All right guys, and we're gonna have a total of 4 10mm bolts we're gonna have to take out for each headlight, and we're gonna start at the bottom here. I'm kind of peeling down this rubber weather stripping here. It's between our bumper and our fender. And I have a 10mm socket on an extension. I'll take this out. All right guys, then we have 2 on the inside here. Again, a 10mm. All right guys, now we have the last one up on top here. All right, now the only thing holding in the headlight at this point, now we have those 4 bolts out, is a little bit of the locking tab. Just kind of pull it out like that. I'm lifting it down kind of gently here. We're going to unplug all of this before we pull our headlight away. We got a total of 4 harnesses that we're going to unplug here. All right guys, now the next step in our installation is we need to find a power source to operate our daytime running lights, and that's because as soon as you turn the key on with these new Morimoto lights, you want that daytime running light to come on as soon as you start the ignition. You don't normally have that if, like our truck, you have the standard halogens. So go ahead and grab this wiring harness out of the kit. It's going to have these 2 plugs and a fuse piece at the other end. We're going to go ahead and plug it into the fuse box into slot number 35. And I'm going to show you how to find that and where to plug it in. All right guys, now your fuse box is located up here between the firewall and your air cleaner. Go ahead and pinch the lock tabs here and remove the lid. Now, in order to confirm slot number 35, you can look at the diagram on the underside of the lid. It'll tell you exactly where to find that slot. And it's right here. It's an empty slot on our truck. It should be empty on yours. It might have a fuse in it already depending on the equipment you have in your truck. But right now, I'm going to go ahead and plug in our wiring harness here right into that slot. You have 2 fuses on this block that we're plugging in. One is just a spare, the other one is the one that's actually being used, which is kind of nice. And that's all there is to that. And then go ahead and replace your cover. Okay, so at this stage of our installation, the guidelines from Morimoto tell us to go into our truck's infotainment system, and we're gonna have to change a setting in here. So I have that pulled up for you right now. Navigate your way down to settings right here, hit OK, and then go to advanced settings, and then vehicle, and then lighting, and then daytime running lights. Morimoto says you need to uncheck this box to turn off that setting. And that's all we need to do as far as this is concerned. All right guys, now we're just about ready to mount our brand new Morimoto headlight up into place here, but one thing I do need to point out to you as we look at our factory wiring harnesses, an important note, you got 4 plugs here that are part of the factory wiring setup, plus we have the 5th one up here, which runs up to our fuse box that I just showed you where to plug in. So we have that, we're gonna use that in just a second. But with the 4 factory plugs we have here, there are 2 that look very similar with the black and white connector here. They have on the protective sheathing here, there's one that's in black and one that's gray. The one that has the black cover, move that aside. We are not going to use that plug. We're going to use the one with the gray sheathing, and we're going to plug that in. Just wanted to call that out, so let's go ahead and get our headlight up here and start plugging things in. Now with this, guys, these wiring harnesses are all different shaped plugs, so it's simply a matter of finding the plug that fits with the plug on the back of the headlight. You have this one here from the headlight that has 3 prongs. Go ahead and plug that in. Then we have one here that has 2. Plug that in. The single one here, we're going to plug in with the wire that runs up to our fuse box. It's for the daytime running light. And then the one with the gray protective sheathing here that I mentioned a moment ago. The plug for that is right here. Now before we get it mounted into place, one thing you need to decide is what type of flashing pattern you want for your turn signal. Now, this Morimoto headlight set has a premium kind of sequential flash, and if you want that animation when you turn on your turn signal, you find this wiring harness that comes out of the back of the headlight. It's basically a closed loop as it is right now. If you want the sequential flashing pattern, you want to unplug this. And that's all you need to do, just unplug that. If you plug this back in and leave it connected, it's going to be a solid flash, kind of more boring. I think it really gives it a more premium look with that sequential flashing pattern. So we're going to unplug this and go from there. So let's go ahead and get this thing mounted up. All right guys, now to get this lined up properly so we're not fidgeting for too long with it, you're going to have this post coming out of the back of the headlight, and you want to guide that into the hole right here on the inside of the fender. So basically set it up top here on top of that rubber weather stripping that's on top of the bumper, and kind of push down on that. And then once you clear the fender, that pops up into place just like that. And I'm going to start one of the bolts up top here. And before we tighten that down, I'm going to go down below to the lower bolt here. We're going to check our alignment there because that's going to be the trickier one to set up out of all these. Okay, guys, I'm going to pull this weather stripping down a little bit, and I can see we're pretty much lined up. It's going to be a little tricky to get this bolt in there. So I'm just kind of using my socket and extension by hand right now. As Morimoto tells you in your instructions, in order to work with this bolt, you need patience and a 10mm socket. And I think that's definitely true. All right, now I got that started. We're going to go ahead and tighten that down. All right guys, now we'll take care of the 2 in the front here. This is a little tricky too because it's recessed in there so far.
All right guys, now we have our factory headlight out of the truck. I want to throw up here on the table and do a quick side-by-side comparison. Now, it's really a stark contrast, I think, in styling. You got the black housing with the clear lens here versus the chrome housing over here with the factory light. I think it's kind of a more dated look over here, something we've seen a million times before. This new Morimoto headlight is really a sleek design. And you'll see in the functionality part of this video, there's really some dramatic changes you're gonna get and a dramatic upgrade in the lighting functions you get with this. But just in overall styling, I think this is a great starting point too as well. If you have a truck that you wanna black out the front end, maybe you're gonna put an aftermarket bumper on and you're gonna really make the front end appearance of your truck subdued, this is really a good place to start. These are a premium headlight, and really working with them today, you can tell kind of handling the headlight itself, you can feel the quality built into this. This is a very rugged, durable unit, and it's also kind of bulky and heavy as well compared to your factory light. Now I'm talking maybe a difference of a few pounds, but it's really something you can feel when you're working with it. And the plug and play aspect to the installation, as you've already seen, part of it is really pretty simple. So a lot going for you here with this Morimoto light. So go ahead, repeat what you just saw to get our passenger side headlight in, and you'll be all set. Once you get your passenger headlight installed, go ahead and replace your grille. All right guys, now go ahead and grab these 10mm bolts back out, and we're gonna reinstall these. All right, guys, go ahead and replace your radiator shroud. All right, guys, now we got to replace all of our locking pop clips. Now, if they come apart like that, all you need to do is press the center locking pin back in place. All right guys, that wraps up our look at these Morimoto XB LED headlights fitting all 2017 to 2019 Ford F-250 and 350 Super Duty pickup trucks. And of course, for all things Super Duty, keep it right here at AmericanTrucks.com.